Hey, welcome back. So far things are good because we have read from the table here. We have at least one thing, but we need to add more stuff. So this is how we are doing it when adding stuff here. So every time we loop through here, we are looping through one row here. Okay, and so we can just go in and say what's the word, we can go in and add these one by one. So we can say data dot first name, data dot last name, and so on until we are done. But the problem with that, with typing things like this, like first name, it means this is not an agnostic table. What I mean is that for me to type first name here, I must know that the table has a first name column, which is not very good because it defeats the purpose of an agnostic table, because it means if I try to connect a different table to my app, it's not going to work because it may not have this column called first name. So we have to find a way to make it agnostic, so it doesn't really know what the keys are and still uses them. Okay, so here this looping is for the row itself, but then we can loop through the columns themselves. Why not? So what I will do here is, let's cut this in half. So I will do this. I'll just get the table row opening like that, do that, go down here, and then duplicate this again and put the closing tag like so. Okay, so now we have a row that we are creating, but in between this, I want to add this. Okay. But then without doing this, I want to loop through this data I, because it's an object. So to loop through an object, just do for var key. So we get a key. That key is going to represent these keys. So we don't know what they are. In, and then let's do that like so. Okay, so this is how you loop through an object with keys you don't know. So this key will represent a key at a particular time. So what I want to do now is get this, put it in there, and then I'm going to concatenate as it is done here, like so. But at this time I will add my backtick like that, and then yeah, closing backtick over there. Pretty good, yeah, and then closing t-body. Okay, so this is looking like it can actually work. So we're going to loop through this, but then the key is here. And so instead of me writing first name here, I want to just put the key itself. So I would do that with square brackets like that. Okay. Okay. So let's see how that will work. Refresh. It doesn't seem to be working well because this data here is in one line and then it's in another line again. This is okay, so it's not working as planned because I am closing the table row here. I think that's probably the problem. So let me remove that for a second. Okay, so still we're not doing very well. And why is that? So once I loop through here, let me get this for a second. If I add to this, that's table row, and then I'm going to add all this, loop through there, and add these guys. So the fact that I have different data means the looping here is working fine. So the only issue is how I am determining these things, the table data Okay, so this is okay, let's come back here for a second and inspect the element. So let's see what is going on, man. Okay, so we have table row and then we have table data, and then table row is closed again, and then we open again, table row. Okay, so the problem is we are having opening and closings immediately. So I think this is where the problem is. Okay, so I think the issue here is this plus equals that we are adding to this rapidly. So let's just create another variable here for a second. So I'm just going to say var, let me just call it temp and equate it to an empty string like that, just like tbody. Then I'll copy tbody to the very end and then say it's equal to temp like that. Okay, when all is done. And then what I want now is to get temp and use it here instead. So that we are not adding to the inner HTML inside a loop. We just add to a string and then finally do it in the end. Let's see if that will solve the problem. Oops, it seems it's not working. Let me close the console for a second. Still not working. So I think it's the plus equals. So what I would do is I'll say temp. Let's do it the old-fashioned way. Temp is equal to temp plus, like something like this. Let me see how that works. Okay, still having trouble. Temp plus that. Let me do the same everywhere. Like so. Let me remove that. Maybe that is where the problem is. Refresh. Oops, still not doing the job. So why is that? Oh, I think I forgot this. I undid too far back. So remove that table row over here if you had it as well. So maybe that was the issue. Refresh. Ah, there we go. Finally, I was beginning to lose my mind. Okay, so let's see if the plus equals was not the issue at all. So I'll copy all these, do that, move one step back and add a plus. So let's see. Okay, still looking good. So the main issue was using the inner HTML inside the loop here. I think it got confused or something. So it's better to do this, even for performance sake. This is much better because we are sending information to a string and then only adding to the DOM finally when we are done to the page. We're only adding to the page when we are done. So that's more efficient as well. Now, if you've noticed, the headers are not there. So we don't know what data this is, we don't know what this is, and so on. So we need a way to put that as well. Now, remember that these keys actually represent the columns, right? So we just need to fill in the keys once, and then once we fill in those, then we know what the keys are. Okay, so what I could do is run another version of this for the table head. So here, the same way we have class for body, let's have one for the head, t head, so that we can replace what's in here as well. Alrighty then, so the procedure is going to be exactly the same here. The only difference is that instead of data I, we're just going to have key. So what I will do here is do this. Let me put some commentary. Let's say replace the body. So let me squeeze these guys in a little bit, like so. And then just duplicate this like so. And then here, replace headings like that. Okay, so that we start exactly from the top. And then the same way we've gotten this T body, we're going to get the T head like that. Okay, and then here instead of T body, it's going to be T head. All right, and then here where it says TD, we're going to put TH for table head, and then instead of data I, we just need the key. Okay, now we don't need to loop through the entire data length. We just need the very first item in the data. So I'm just going to put 0 there, and then I can get rid of this loop out here like that, like so. That way we just loop through one, because we don't need to loop through all of them. So let me refresh, and there we go. So we have our data showing. There's employee number, last name, first name, extension, email, office code, and so on. Very nice. Now all this pain was to make sure that our table is agnostic. No matter what table we load, it's still supposed to load just as good. All right, so this is good. I will see you in the next video where we continue with our project.